And welcome to it. This is the Private Property Podcast, where we provide you with valuable knowledge and information on all things property related. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or you're just looking for some expert advice, we have got you covered. So tune into the show every Tuesday and every Thursday at 7 p.m. for tips, insights, and expert advice on all of your burning property related questions, because we cover all topics related to property. That's because this podcast is brought to you by Private Property. Remember, you can find your new home on privateproperty.co.za. Welcome to the Private Property Podcast. On tonight's episode, we'll be unpacking exactly why you should be focusing on good financial planning as a form of self-love this Valentine's Day. Joining me in studio to chat about this interesting topic is my old favorite, Zydah Manuel from ABSA. She is the portfolio manager for first-time home buyers, so that's why we love having her on the show. Before we dive into that conversation, though, please remember to comment below and share your thoughts about today's show. You can also join the conversation by using the hashtag find your new home on privateproperty.co.za and hashtag the Private Property Podcast on all social media. We'll be keeping an eye out for your posts, and who knows, we might even feature some of your comments on next week's show. That's because we value your opinions, because this is the Private Property Podcast, and we're just here to give you all of the valuable information you need on all things property related. Like I said, joining me today in studio, one of our faves, Zydah Manuel from ABSA. Hi.
Hi, sir.
How are you?
I'm great.
Compliments.
Thank you. Can we still say that?
I'm the kind of person who will say compliments until December if I haven't seen you that year.
Okay, so then I can say compliments to you too, Sips, and to our viewers, because this is my first time back for this year.
See, exactly. So, yeah, 2023 is going to be great.
Definitely.
Tell me about self-love. What's your Valentine's Day plan? Let's start there.
No, we're not discussing that.
No.
We'll discuss self-love.
It's the month of love, Zydah.
Love yourself.
Love yourself?
Yes.
How would you suggest I love myself?
So, part of loving yourself is so important. You need to love yourself.
Like light some candles and massage
love
myself.
Another person. So you must first love yourself. Self-love.
When you say that good financial planning is a form of self-love, what do you mean?
So self-love is loving yourself first, but also ensuring, and part of that is good financial planning and understanding what does it mean for you. You know, we talk about money, but what does money mean for you? You know, is it financial freedom? Is it good decision making around expenditure, around purchases, around savings, around your income, you know? And for me, importantly, is budgeting, looking at your budget and what does it mean for you? And how would you like to spend your own money?
So self-love, to me, I hear you talking about money and I'm just like, self-love is about spending my money and like splurging on myself. But I suspect you're going to say the opposite thing is self-love.
Self-love is loving yourself, but ensuring that you also invest in yourself. And that also means financially.
Can I invest in myself by like popping bottles in the club?
It's a lifestyle.
Is that an investment?
That's a form of entertainment.
Oh.
For yourself.
I suspect you're going to say we must cut down on entertainment.
Entertainment cautiously, social cautiously, but be mindful of your expenditure. Because think of your savings.
Yeah.
Think of long-term savings. Think of unforeseen circumstances that you might be prepared for, so that you're not finding yourself in a financial distress situation because you didn't plan for it. And I think for me, that's a good form of self-love, making sure that you don't find yourself in financial distress situations because you didn't plan accordingly for them.
I like that word, financial distress. I don't know why. It sort of sobers you up, doesn't it? It's one of those words that like knocks things into perspective, because when you're out splurging on yourself, thinking that that's self-love, you don't think, ooh, I might be putting myself in a tricky position in the long term. It's sort of instant gratification that we're dealing with.
Absolutely. And that's where budgeting comes. That's very, very important because you've got your income and let's set a budget. And budget entertainment and social forms part of your budget, but don't exceed it. Always make sure you have a budget that's set towards savings. There's entertainment and social, but there's also to make sure that you have buffers that can help you in unforeseen circumstances. And unforeseen circumstances could lead to anything. It could lead to, do you have enough savings that you can accommodate if anything happens that's unexpected?
Yeah.
Because there's so many unexpected things. I can list them for you, but top of my head could be, if you might not be employed tomorrow, do you have sustainable income left or savings to last you for the next 6 to 12 months?
6 to 12 now.
Absolutely.
They used to say you must at least have enough savings to get you through 3 months of unemployment.
No, you need at least 6 to 12 months.
So I must have my salary for a whole year in my bank account staring at me.
It needs to be in savings, and savings is in different forms.
That's when I start going on holidays and popping bottles either, because I'm going to think I'm rich now.
No, so part of your budgeting, you need to have a budget for holidays, a budget for social, a budget for savings, a budget to make sure you meet your credit obligations.
Without dipping, without double dipping, taking from this one to put into that one.
Exactly. Making sure that your budget consists of pockets of enough categories that you can spend, but cautiously, prudently, but also to accommodate your lifestyle, but ensuring that the savings component and the investment component is quite well diverse so that it can offset those unforeseen circumstances, and then you're actually prepared for it.
How do you diversify your saving and investments?
So there's different forms. You can save long-term investments, short-term investments for access to funds. You can diversify into other form of investments, into property, into online share trading, into offshore investments.
Are you saying Forex?
Forex, yes, offshore investments, online share trading. And I think
Zydah,
that's how you diversify as well. Outside of just saving short-term, savings long-term, yeah.
Are you saying those people who DM me on Instagram and they say, let me teach you Forex, I must be responding to them, I mustn't be blocking them?
I think if you want to diversify, it's always best to, if you're thinking of diversifying through offshore or share trading, it's good to look at, expert advice, but more, should I say, professional expert advice. So banks do offer this as well.
Okay.
Banks offer offshore and online share trading in terms of equities as well. And there is professionals that can support you and help you. There's brokers that can support you and help you and guide you, and also give you videos and content that can help you gear yourself to be able to enter into that kind of trading and help you from a knowledge perspective as well.
Okay. I hear you, and there's a massive sort of knowledge gap when it comes to people and how they manage their personal finances. What would you say the most common mistakes people are making are when it comes to managing now their personal finance? And I'm speaking, budget is such a big word. You could say, okay, budget, and then what I'm doing is sort of allocating funds to the things I need to pay for, but not necessarily with some kind of goal in mind when I do that, or not thinking, oh, I've got to save for the 12 months of unemployment. So you're just thinking a budget is when I get my income and then I pay this one to this one and this one to that one, and then afterwards it's like, let's have a good time, let's go out.
So I think it starts first with, when you receive income, I think also starts with yourself from a life goals perspective as an individual. What are your life goals and where do you see yourself in, a wheel of life balance? Where do you see yourself from a financial perspective, a lifestyle, a career, a fitness? You can add a couple of things: family, career, travel.
Like tax.
Yes. So a wheel of life balance, and you break those down into categories. Some life coaches will talk to you about a wheel of life as a balance. And when you talk financial, I think it's important, as I say, it integrates to your goals as an individual. What do you see? Where do you see yourself? So if you have income and you've got to take up debt, is it good debt? Is it bad debt? What are my needs? What are my wants? And what are my desires? And based on that, you then correlate back to this income that you have. And how are you going to make that work for you to meet your needs, your wants, your desires? And how do you work around that? So budgeting is a very important thing because you've got this income. So what are you doing with it? And how do you correlate it back, to what are the needs? And that could be good debt. What are you taking up? How do you spend that money? And then, what are your wants? So if you have wants, how are you going to get the wants? Are you going to get the wants? Are you going to take up? Are you going to get the wants based on savings, or how are you going to get the wants? And then there's the desires. So where do you see yourself? What was in your bucket list, or how are you going to get there? So what's your plan to get there? And, and it all works around your financials.
Bars. You're coming for me today, Zydah. And on that, what sort of financial knowledge do you wish that you'd had when you began your journey? And now I'm speaking specifically to do with property.
I think for me, start saving early, any form of saving early and diversifying your investments into saving. And when it comes to property, I think what's important is you've got to save towards it. It's not something you just wake up and say, today, this is what I'm doing.
I'm going to buy a house today.
I'll buy a house today, because that decision is a long-term decision. It's a big decision. It's a big commitment. And there's a lot of other things that you need to consider with the decision of just buying a home. It's not just about buying a home. There's other elements that you'll have to integrate into your life. Integrate the expenses into your budget that you'll have to be geared to be able to accommodate, and you have to say, because like I say, it's one of those goals that you plan, but it has to work nicely with the financial part of it as well.
Okay, would you say if someone had like excess, right? Say I've budgeted, I've got my personal finance plan, I'm paying my taxes, honey, I'm doing everything perfectly, and then like I get a big bonus. Would you say that excess should sort of go into paying off your debts, whether they be bad or, let's say, good debts? Is that what I should be doing? Or can I just blow it all and take a trip around the world?
My guidance would be that, if you get excess money, always make sure you're topping up your buffers in savings and making sure that your nest is secured for unforeseen circumstances. Take a portion and spoil yourself, but not everything. And then if there's a portion, if you've got debt, it's best to reduce debt. It's best to reduce it and reduce your debt, so that bulk of your income and the surplus that you have can go towards, your goals or the desires that you've set out for yourself. And it could probably help you get there quicker.
Zydah, what are the crucial steps that come into play when someone must now commit to a property purchase?
I think the steps that comes into play is you need to assess your financials, and that's your budget. So in your budget, what is your income? What is your expenses? And I think, look, it's always best to ensure that, are your expenses the important needed expenses, or are there some that is quite unnecessary that you can nightly reduce so that you can have a better surplus to accommodate for the home purchase? I think the budget's very important. The second thing is that making sure that you actually know what you can afford to buy. So before shopping around and saying, I'm going to buy a house, so first understand, with your current income that you have and expenses, what can you afford to buy? So do a pre-qualification to understand, because then that can give you some guidance as to what type of property prices can you be searching for in that range. And then make sure that your credit history is in good standing. So if you have anything that might not be right or inhibit you from getting credit, make sure that you close those out. So it's good to get a credit report from one of the bureaus. You can access one free annually. And I think then understand the home buying process. What does it take to buy a home? What are the additional costs? So you've got to make sure that you can accommodate the attorney fees, the rates and taxes, the electricity, things like insurance that becomes new to you. And if you're buying in sectional title properties, the levies, what does it look like? Because those would likely become new expenses in your budget. So then you need to make sure that can you afford these. So once you at least have an indicative view of what you could buy from a property purchase price perspective, you can then use bond calculators to work out what those attorney costs would be. When you start shopping around for the home, ask, what is the average rate in tax pricing? What is the levies? So that you have an idea, so that you keep on going back to your budget and making sure that if I make this purchase, these are the rough numbers that I'm going to be looking at, and can I accommodate it, And I think as a homeowner, once you become a homeowner, there's always some additional expense or unforeseen expense with owning a home, and you might need to do something, renovate or paint, or some additional things that you may need to do from a maintenance perspective. And you want to find yourself that you have those funds available for you to be able to make those maintenance, ensure that you can meet those maintenance requirements as a homeowner.
How do you think one can go about preparing now their property search? So you've spoken about budgeting and doing the calculations so that I'm not going to be putting in, I'm looking for a house in the 16 million range because I don't have it. Mainly, it's outside of my scope of possibilities at the moment until I win the Powerball. How do I prepare myself now to be in the market and looking and get the best positive outcome for myself?
I think when it comes to property searching, I think we've spoke about the planning around budgeting, do a pre-qualification, check your credit history. When it comes to searching for a property, so visit suburbs, visit them not only on viewing days, outside of viewing days. So during the week, perhaps check out if there's amenities that is close to a suburb that you might be interested in, that suits your lifestyle. So the suburb must suit your lifestyle. There's the close amenities, schools, hospitals, shopping centers, Is it good access networks to transport, highways in and out? Is that system working, And also check the suburb, like I said, not on viewing days only, outside of viewing days, during the week, on weekends, if you're comfortable. Understand the security surroundings of a suburb. You can go to the nearest police station and understand what are those stats. You can also retrieve suburb reports to better understand, stats around property valuation in those areas, is it what does it look like for you? So if you're committing, is your property value going to increase, or how has it been in the surrounding neighborhood? And those are some of the important things to look out for. And then look at the structure of the property. Don't fall in love with but look at structure.
Like it's got a great patio, but there's cracks in the.
Look at the walls, look at the ceilings, look at the plumbing, look at the electrical. Pay attention to those aesthetics of when you look at viewing properties, because you want to make sure that those things are all in good standing as you go to view properties. So that's the guidance I can give you when it comes to searching for property.
Yeah. Would you also say sort of employ the services of professionals? Because
yes.
I, as Sibs, can try and flicker the lights on and off to see if they work. I will have absolutely no idea if the electrical situation is messed up unless I bring in and invest in a professional to come and have a look for me, which will save me so much in the long run.
Absolutely. I think you can take those additional steps if you'd like to get a professional in to make sure that, the electrical is all in good standing, the structure is solid, there wouldn't be additional maintenance to do. So, yeah.
What would you say the pitfalls are of not being prepared or adequately prepared for a purchase?
I think one is not being clear on budgeting. So when those unexpected expenses come in with home ownership, like paying for the attorney fees and the new expenses, rates and tax and insurance, and you might not be comfortably geared for those expenses, and you're finding yourself quite tight with your budget. I think make sure that you're geared for that. Make sure you have the savings. So if you need to put down a deposit as part of your application for a home loan, you're geared for it, and you have the money to pay upfront for the attorney fees. And also making sure that you also have those other costs, moving costs, set aside. And if you're a new homeowner, there's obviously some furniture items that you might need to look at. So I think being geared for that, and like I say, in your budget, unforeseen circumstances could be anything. You might be buying your home today at a certain interest rate, but it's a variable interest rate linked to your home loan, meaning the repayment could be X today, but if the interest rate is adjusted, your repayment could be Y in the next couple of months. So you need to be geared in your disposable income to accommodate for those. And that's just one of the unexpected circumstances that you need to be geared in your income for the disposable income so you can accommodate that.
Today's price isn't tomorrow's price.
Absolutely.
If you have a variable interest rate.
Yes.
What tools can people engage now, consumers specifically, to sort of assist them with planning strategies so that they're as prepared. I mean, what I'm hearing is that to be the most prepared person you can be is to have stacks of money in your rainy day fund. But what other tools can I employ?
I think tools to help you make a decision on home buying. So ABSA has all the educational and pre-buying tools on our website. We have bond calculators that can help you play around with different purchase prices, repayment values, interest rate, and attorney fees estimations. We also have a pre-qualification tool that can help you look at what you could afford to buy. We also have a learning journey that can teach you about the buying process. It's an e-learning journey. It's free. It can educate you about the entire home buying process, end to end, from application to attorney fee stage, right to being a homeowner and the maintenance functions post that. We also then have good articles on our website that you can read about renovations, variable interest rates, anything home related, that you can read about. Even how do you improve your home around solar energy solutions? We've got that too available, because I think that's also something to think about where we find ourselves today as we're thinking about home buying. And we've got all of our tools and good product solutions to support you around the decision making on our website. So that's how we gear in consumers to help them prepare for the journey.
And you think that's all the tools that they will need?
It's
all there.
You just need to go and read, learn, and obviously you can ask questions to your estate agent as you look as you go about the property search. I think that's very important as well.
Zydah, the last thing I'm going to ask you before I let you go is, let's say I'm going to buy my first home now, 2023, inshallah. Give me your top piece of advice ever.
Top piece of advice: savings, have that ready, and shop around. Make sure you buy in the
Zydah, you just want
suburbs.
me to have buckets of money.
And make sure your budget is in good standing and you are geared for the commitment of buying a home. It's a big commitment. But it's a big commitment, it's special, and it's beautiful.
And it's worth it.
Absolutely.
And ABSA will help you all the way through, from the beginning to the end.
End to end, holding your hand. We've got great property specialists that can support you, help you, and gear you, that you can speak to and hold your hand through the journey. And post the journey.
Now that's Africanacity.
Absolutely.
Zydah Manuel from ABSA, thank you so much for joining us again on the Private Property Podcast. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Sibs, and thank you to the viewers for watching us.
Thanks. Listen, that's all we've got for you tonight. Catch me on the next episode of the Private Property Podcast. I'm Sibs Matiel. I'll see you next time.